Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for being here today. Today is a great day, and really, I must say that I'm very happy to be here with a lot of smart people that share the same passion with this, which is search. And I think that we need to realize how lucky we are and fortunate we are to work in this area. Search is a passion for us, but also it's the future. It's a lot of opportunities in the future. And I'm going to talk about that in a few seconds. But before talking about the future, I want to talk about my story in these last few years when I joined Yellow Pages, this company. So when I joined, I was working in the marketing department. I was senior manager of taxonomies. And my boss' mission was fix the search. That was her job. Everyone was talking about search. Search is broken. Search sucks. Search doesn't work. I can't get anything. And she was trying everything to fix it. And in less than a year, she gave up and she couldn't fix the search. And everyone was complaining. In the meantime, I was playing with the data and was building my own search engine on the side, evenings and weekends. And when I had a good demo, I went to show it to the execs and said, wow, this is cool. What are you doing? I said, I'm using Solar, out-of-the-box features, and it's cool, it's working. So can you do it for us? I said, yeah, I need a small team, and I will do it. 6 months later, we built a search engine with a very small team, and we launched, we went in production. The search was great, but the people were still complaining. The search doesn't work. I said, no, the search works. We have all features we need. So really, what was not working was not the search. The relevance of the user experience was not working. But that's the complexity. So that's where my story started with this company. I started working on the relevance. So before going into details, I will present first the Yellow Pages, my company, myself. Then I will talk about the importance of the relevance in our business from a business perspective. Then I will talk about the definition of relevance in our business. Then I show you how to measure and improve. And finally, I will conclude with some tips for you. So Yellow Pages is been there for more than 100 years. It's a leading company in Canada. We connect consumers to businesses, and that's what we do every day. And we try to help the neighborhood economy by providing rich media with good content about our businesses, their products, their services, and we reach the good consumers. So we have a dozen of websites and mobile applications in different verticals. We have in the restaurants, we have in the B2B, B2C, real estate, and name it. And we are serving 26% of active users online in Canada. So I am like many of you here, search is in my DNA. I love search, that's my passion. But search for me is only a tool. I use it to help organizations to be smarter, to take a better decision. That's how I use search. So at Yellow Pages, I'm running the search and content program, and my main mission is to help the company to satisfy the audience needs. That's what I'm doing here. So first, what is the relevance in our business? Before explaining relevance, this is our flagship website. It's a local search engine, and most of you have at least used local search engine once in your life. Use it on Google or Yellow Pages in many countries. So basically, you have advertisers that have products and services they want to sell. And we have on the other side consumers that are looking for these advertisers for their products and their services. And here we are here to help them to connect both of them. So we have what we call a what and where search. The what is the product, the service that users are looking for. The where is the location, and then we return the best products and services for the user. So search is really key for our business. And relevance is where really we connect customers with the businesses. That's where relevance is for us. So if you have a lot of businesses who have products and services, and the products and services, they are not shown to the user, or they're not shown to the right user, that's a bad experience. And if you have a consumer who is looking for a specific product or a specific service and you cannot show it, that's a bad experience. So where really it's important for all of us is here. That's where the relevance is important for us. So I'm going to explain in this specific context what are the building blocks of relevance for our company. The first thing, and you've heard it many times, user is the center of the equation. Yes, the user is important. You have to understand what the user needs is. And the user, the more you give them, the more they become demanding. Actually, the search folks, we become victim of our own success, because the more we make things easy for consumers, the more they will ask for features. And the goal here is really to understand the user intent, and the user does not specify a lot of his, does not explain a lot his needs. Usually it's 1 or 2 keywords, which is very difficult to understand. And what you need to do to understand this is first to collect as much data as possible about your users. Where they come from. Is it direct traffic or from Google? Direct means these are loyal people. They come to your website because they love your website, they love your content. If they come from Google, man, you have to convince them to stay on your website. Which device are they using? Mobile or web? There is a big difference between mobile and web. The context is not the same. On mobile, you know where the guy is. On web, it's very different. It's different. What are their experience in your website? Did you already convert them or not as a loyal consumers? And then you have to specify what are the KPIs for this specific building block. In this case, what you need to know is to cover as much as possible data about your users, and to do this on a daily basis. Cover all the data, collect the clicks, all their interactions, good interactions, bad interactions, and put them in your database, and then you play with them. So that's the first one. The second one, and many people, when they talk about search, they forget about it. We are usually focused on the user, but we forget about the content provider. Businesses are very important in this equation. They are paying our bills. They are here to sell their products and their services, and they are very, very important. First thing you need to know is to understand what they want, and then you tell them what data they need to provide, what content they need to provide to reach the consumers. So the goal here is to have always accurate, validated, fresh data, and the data can be in our business, merchant, which means plumbers, restaurants, pizza, all the information they have, opening hours, their addresses, and also you need to provide data about the neighborhoods, about the location where you live, how to make a decision about the business. And the main KPIs here are the coverage. How many businesses do you cover in your country, for example, in Canada? And then the completeness of your content. Do you have all the information about your businesses? Do you have opening hours? Do you have the addresses? Do you have the postal code? Those information. And then how frequent you update your content and you validate your content. Content is obsolete. If you don't validate it often, it can become irrelevant. Example, a URL, you have to check it. It's very simple. You have to check the URL whether it's valid or not. The opening hours, you can, using user-generated content, you can validate this kind of information. Then, when you have the content and the user, so usually they don't speak the same language. They don't use the same vocabulary. You can ask for car, but in the document you have automobile or vehicle. You can ask for New York, but in the document you have NY. So they don't talk the same language. That's why you need another component that contains a lot of knowledge to help the search engine to understand both sides and connect them together. That's where you need the knowledge. The knowledge can be linguistic, translation, for example, because in Canada we are a bilingual country. Can be synonyms. Car means vehicle, means automobile. It can be acronyms. NY means New York, and so on and so forth. And the KPIs here are very, very simple. You see what users are looking for, and then you check whether you have this knowledge in your database or not. First thing is the coverage. How many keywords users are looking for, and you know. And how many keywords are searched, and you don't know. And then you have to have the process to translate them, to create the synonym for them, and so on and so forth. The same thing about the completeness. For the geodata, you have to cover the entire territory of your country. For each location, you need to have names, you need to have geocodes, you need to have the polygon that describe the borders of that location, and so on and so forth. And finally, you need to refresh the database on a regular basis. The geodata is something that is not stable. It can change. New neighborhoods can appear. Postal codes can change. You need to update it. So when you have the data is ready, the user is ready, you understand them, then now how can you make this data searchable? That's where you need the search engine. So the search engine here is only to make whatever you have searchable for the user. It's garbage in, garbage out. So that's why I said earlier, when I built the search engine was working, but the user experience was not working because it's not about search. So if you have garbage here, if you don't understand your user, the search will not work. And the search is getting more and more complex nowadays. Yesterday, Will mentioned that Bill Gates said that the search in the past was noun-based and now it's verb-based. And that's true. It's action. Today, people, they are not looking for information just to describe or for a description for something. They are willing to act. They are here to buy. They are here to move. That's what they need. You need to understand what they need, what are their actions, what's their context, where they are, and what's the real intent for that user. So it has to be contextualized and personalized. So here there are two kinds of KPIs to measure the search: the offline KPIs and online KPIs. Offline is the recall and precision, and if you work on search and you don't know these KPIs, that's really a problem. The idea here is of recall and precision is the recall is, did the search engine return all the relevant results? And the precision is, did the search engine return only the relevant results? Those, you work on them. I will explain later how to do it. You work on them offline. And then you have, when you go live and you want to play with real users, you have other KPIs. Two of them, first is return results. Did I return 0 results, which means like it's failing? How many results I returned, too much, not too much? And then the mean reciprocal rank, or the click-through rate. Where do my users click? Do they click on the first result or on 10th result, or they never click? Those are the two signals you need to know. So until here, it's like mechanical. We collected data, and we cannot say whether the search experience is going to be good or not. So then you need to have a way to present this data so that the user can get access to it quickly and can act, can buy a product or a service, or can book a hotel or a restaurant or so on and so forth. So that's where you need the presentation. And the presentation is not only simple UI about colors and buttons. It's more complex than that. Presentation is how to find the right combination to show blocks, sizes, colors, positions on your layout so that the user can get quickly access to the information that he or she needs. That's what the presentation is. And here, give you an example, movie theater and restaurants. Movie theater, people when search for the movie theater, they are searching for tickets and the agenda, the hours of the movies. When they search for restaurants, it's different. It's a different story. They are search for reservation of restaurants, ratings and reviews. So the layout has to change dynamically when you show these two kind of search results. You are on the same web page, but you have to change the presentation to increase the user interaction. And finally, you have the real KPIs that matters. The other KPIs, those are mechanical. To have a health check about your system, do you have the right content? Do you have the right algorithm for search? But here, you put everything in action, and you see the behavior of users. So these are the KPIs that you need to measure. Not because you are a developer that you should not be focusing on what is going on the website, because your input is very important. If you understand the ultimate goal for the business, this is how you can improve and leverage these data and help the business to succeed. The first KPI is the page views, how many page views are shown. The second one is the unique visitors, and all of them, they are signals. Unique visitors, we have many page views, but are they the same visitors? Is the number of visitors growing or not? Is it going down or not? Because you can have more page views, but less and less unique visitors, and the opposite is true. The visit duration, do people come here and stay, or they come and go? Because a visit doesn't mean that it's a relevant visit. They can come, and the bounce rate is very high. They quit immediately. That's a very important signal for you. How often they come back? Do they come once a year, which means like your branding campaign is working very well, the company paid a lot of money to attract a lot of users through advertisement, and then they come and see your website, yes, visit, yes, unique visitor, and then they go and they never come back. That's a bad signal. And finally, the useful interaction. I mean, useful here is very important because people, they can come to your website and they click everywhere, but they are lost. They have a lot of interactions, but those interactions are not useful. So you need to split the useful and non-useful interaction. User is happy when he or she comes to your website, finds the information, call or book, and go back. One click, that's the best deal. If they come and they start looking for information here and there and get lost, those are irrelevant interactions. So we have the five building blocks. Now, what is missing is you start playing with these. You start connecting all of these together and start measuring, start acting, start improving this. So this is how you can improve your relevance. First thing is, we saw the KPIs. That's what you need to specify and you need to measure. Then you start measuring them. Every single KPI you need to measure. You need to put in place processes and systems to measure them. Then you have to read the information, read the data and learn about it, and then iterate and grow. So that's the recipe. So here in Yellow Pages, we built an entire framework for each of them to improve all these kinds of information. And I'm not going to go into details for lack of time here, but I would be happy to talk about it in detail after this presentation. I'm just going to tell you a few things about how to measure some of these components and how to improve them. So I think many of you here at the beginning, you were talking about search only, and it's very simple to understand and to measure. And now you feel like a bit confused. It's more than search, a lot of components, and where can I start? And actually, we have already started, because when you start defining your problem, it's already half solved. This is the beginning. We are not starting from scratch. So now what we need to do is to put this in place and to start tracking these KPIs and improve them. That's what we need to do. So there are many ways to measure. These are the ways we are using in our company. So first thing is, in the center, you need to define the KPIs. This is what we did. And then you need to measure and define the action. The action can be specific for your business, for a specific business. The measure here is these are standard measures. This is what we are using at Yellow Pages. So I'm going to go into details for each of them in the coming slides. And you can stop me. I think, can we get questions during the presentation? Okay, so go ahead if you have any question. So the first thing to know is you have a website or a mobile applications, and people are screaming, the search is not working, what to do? So you need to see the health check of your system website. First thing to do is you need to get to know your data. You start tracking everything, web analytics, mobile analytics, track everything in your logs, and start measuring all those KPIs. And then you build a dashboard that contains all your KPIs. So it's not relevant, like we're not gonna go into details here what I am showing you the KPIs, but basically here we show what we found in the logs, what our people are doing, our users are doing, when are they happy and they find good results, and when they are not happy and they don't find good results. This is what we built. And then once you have all the data in your dashboards, what you need to know is to understand the data. That's where it gets interesting. So this is the most important phase of the relevance optimization. The others, they are just mechanical. You can build platforms, parse data, parse logs, extract sessions, and all that stuff, it's mechanical. This is where you have to understand how things work. And here, to understand the data and identify the actions, you can trigger automatically or manually different actions and different processes. For example here, for our business, if people are searching for the same geolocation and the search engine cannot recognize, that's a signal. You go and you start a manual process, and people will go and look for that geolocation, and they add it. And we built here a tool for human beings, a lot of linguists and taxonomists that are working on it. On a daily basis, they get a lot of candidates of keywords or location names to improve or to enrich, to translate, to optimize. And the other thing is you can do is automatic improvement. So that's where your search is important, or crunching the data before giving it to the search is important. If you are missing business, of course you can go and find on it on the web, or you can go and crawl websites of these businesses and you get their information automatically. So two kind of processes here, the manual and the automatic process. Then that was the first way of testing. So you go live, you start doing analytics, you collect all the data, and you see where you are. Are you satisfying your users or not? The second way of testing is offline. So you build what we call a test collection manually, and you have pairs of real search users, search queries, and a set of predefined answers. And then you start testing your algorithms or your search engine. So what you do is you have a stable test collection with significant number of use cases that cover a lot of use cases of your consumers, and then you start testing. And in this case, you are safe because you are offline. Your search engine is not in production. You don't have any bad surprise. You change any of these ingredients. You change the content, you change the knowledge, you change the search algorithm, and then you see what the impact is on your search engine. The two KPIs we use here is that we call them precision. You can see as search is not about fishing. People, when they come, they need to find the right information. They don't want to try again. They need to find the right information. So that's what you can do here offline without hurting your search engine, your relevance experience. The third one is the side-by-side comparison. So this is a tool that we built in-house. And the idea here is to go into your logs. You get all the data from a significant number of data, real searches from your logs, and then you create campaigns, and you give them to human beings to compare two algorithms of the same search engine or two search engines. You can compare here your search engine with a competitor, or two search engines that you want to buy, or two algorithms that you are improving, and so on and so forth. So what we do here, you have the result of the search engine here, and the second search engine here. So this is a blind comparison. So these two columns, they change randomly. You cannot guess which search engine is on the right and which search engine is on the left. And then you can have an evaluation of the overall search experience. These are the listings. And you can have an evaluation of each specific listing. And then, of course, about the geodata. At the end, you need to have a significant number of testers for each search, and then you have your result. Results are which system is better than the others, and what are the signals, where. For example, you can have searches that are tagged by the language, tagged by the type of search. Is it a keyword search? Is it a product search, a business name search? And then you can have the result that you need. This can tell you offline whether your new algorithm is better than the old one or not, or whether your search engine is better than the competitor or not. The fourth way to test is A/B testing. So now we are in production. It's dangerous, getting dangerous. So now you take a significant portion of your traffic and you test your algorithm. Here again, the algorithm can be one combination or many combinations of these ingredients. You can test a new piece of content, you can test a new knowledge base. You want to buy a new geo database, for example, and you don't know whether it's good or not, relevant or not. So you put it in action and then you measure. And in order to reduce the risk, because when you go in production where you're going to you might hurt the relevance experience, what we do at Yellow Pages, we do simulation. We take significant number of search logs, and we run the new algorithm, the new search engine on those, and see how many searches are going to be impacted. And then we see them, and we see whether the impact is going to be huge or not. That's the way to minimize the risk. And then you have what I call the KPIs that matter. This is what you need to measure. And then you forget about the other KPIs, whether you have all content or not, or the search algorithm, or recall and precision. This is what matters at the end. If users are happy, if you have a lot of users, unique users that they are coming, they have useful interactions, you are happy and the business is happy. That's what you need to focus on. Finally, the output of this A/B testing is this graph. And in this graph, you can see all the KPIs here. And you can see the impact of each change you made on your algorithm or on your data. So if you change the content, you can see what is the impact. If you change the algorithm, you see the impact. What is important here is sometimes you see something changing in your result and you can't explain. But be careful. You don't have only internal changes, you have also external changes. Google, when they change their algorithm, of course, there will be a significant change in the SEO and a significant change in your traffic. You need to be careful about that. And then, these are not numbers only for the business or for marketing. These are numbers that you need to focus on to improve your search. I gave an example here. You see the bounce rate. If the bounce rate is high, that's a very important signal for you to understand. So who are these users who came and left quickly? Where are they coming from? Are they coming from Google or direct traffic? And when they come, what did we show them? Which kind of content we show them? Do we maybe lack a specific type of content? In the vertical of restaurants, maybe you are weak, or in another vertical of plumbing. These are the information that you can get from this KPI. So these are the 5 components in the optimization, and I'm going to conclude to give you an opportunity to ask some questions if you want. But I'm really a big fan of search. I'm not saying search is not important. Search is only one component of the equation. You have many others. And the most important thing is not about building the search engine. We know how to build search engines. And Solar, and they made it very simple for us to build search engine. The idea is really to understand your data, to understand your users. That's where the problem is. And remember a quote from Bill Gates who said, I prefer to hire a lazy person because he or she will always find an easy way to get the job done. So in this case, be lazy with coding. Don't code. Don't systematically go and write your code. Think about what you are doing. Define your KPIs. Start measuring them and see the impact and understand the data, the real data. Thank you. So we have 5 minutes for questions. Sure.
Can you talk about your judgment process a little, like how you, can you talk about the judgment process that you use about how to get third-party judges, or did you do that internally, or did you use something like Mechanical Turk or something?
When we started, we tried to use Mechanical Turks, but unfortunately they quit the company. They don't work anymore in Canada. So we have our digital support team. We have hundreds of people who do it for us. And the idea is to give them really, it's a blind test. We don't tell them which is the algorithm. So these are the people who do it for us.
What is the main source of your traffic? What is the main source of your traffic?
Traffic is Google for everyone, I think, and we have direct traffic. Google and direct traffic.
In proportion, Google?
I'm not sure I can talk about this. I'm not sure it's public information, but I mean, the same trend in the industry.
And another question, if possible, what is the content of your document?
The content of the document, we have different type of contents. We have the merchant content, which is, let's say, restaurants. You have to have the business name, the address, and basic information. And they have opening hours, the menu, and all this information, pictures, videos, ratings and reviews, user-generated content. This is the merchant content. And we also have editorial content. We have bloggers and authors that create content for local, for a neighborhood. For example, smart tips, how to renovate your kitchen, how to, so home and garden, smart tips about home and garden, things like that.
You mentioned when you joined Yellow Pages that the search relevance wasn't that good. Could you give a couple of specific examples of like how these metrics reveal some of the not so good parts and how you resolve those?
When I said is search relevance was good, people, they were thinking that if it's not working, it means the search engine is not working. So what I tried to do here with my team is to split the components and the responsibility to see what is not really working. So example, I search for specific plumber and can't find it. Well, if you can't find it, it means that the search engine cannot return it, or you don't have it in your database. This is what we are doing. Or I search for a car, and they cannot return those who have the keyword auto. Well, of course, the search engine cannot do it. You need to increase the knowledge base so that you improve the relevance. So that's what we are doing here.
The question I have is related to the collection tests that you have. How do you come up with the base set to to calculate the precision and recall? Is that manually curated, or do you have some automated means to come up with that set? It's
a static collection. You cannot have a dynamic collection.
No. My point is this, right? I understand you have queries, right? Then you probably have to define some sort of set of results that you expect to come back.
Yes,
So how do you come up with that expected set of results that you...
human beings.
Okay, so it's all manually curated?
Yes, yes, yes. Usually in big, in track or CLE, this kind of campaign for test, for evaluation of search engines, first you run an automatic search and you return a set of results, and then you have a lot of human beings validating them. This is relevant or not, and then you create the user experience, the test collection on a scale. So in our case, we have thousands for each test case. We don't have hundreds of thousands. We cannot afford that. We don't have a big team. So, but it's significant because we cover a lot of use cases.
During your A/B testing, so you said you use a lot of metrics to measure if your modifications were successful or not, right? And which one of these was the most important in your experience? The most representative, like bounce rate or, so which one of these?
It's a subjective question. I think all of them, they are important. All of them are important. But all of them are important. The bounce rate is tricky because nowadays, advertisement on the web, you go and buy traffic, for example, you go and advertise somewhere. These people, the other publishers, they send you any kind of traffic because they are paid by click, for example. So the bounce rate, in many cases, it's not that significant. So what you need to do with the bounce rate is you see what is the source of the data of the users. And if you see there is a pattern, all these users, they quit. So then you remove them from your sample.
And you said you should run it for a prolonged period of time, right? So what was it like, in your case, what was it? Like a month or 2 months?
I must say that we are not that sophisticated in the A/B testing, but I tell you what is the roadmap, what is coming. So search here, in this case, you need to have significant amount of data for the day of week and the time of day, and also for the season. This is where you can say, I have a significant amount of data. Sometimes a week is not significant, because when you talk about season, that's not significant. But it can give you an idea about, because Saturday and Sunday, people, they don't search for the same things like Monday and Tuesday. So you need to have to define the sample that you're going to use. Thank you.